Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children, listen. This episode is for children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my special guest. I've known this dude for 20 years. One of the most intriguing and interesting fellows you'll ever meet. I have no freaking idea what he does for a living. I know he drives an R8. I know those are expensive, so he must make money. And every time that we get together for beers or for lunch, I have to ask him, hey, Dennis Miller, what is it that you're up to these days? So my special guest is the one, the only Dennis H.J. Miller. Dennis, welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast.
Oh, thanks, Dustin.
So for the listeners tuning in,
Yep.
we are going to entertain you guys. That is a promise.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, Dennis and I have traveled Europe together. We've known each other for 20 years. Our moms are best friends. I promise you this, we're going to have a good time today.
Oh, yeah.
But what do you do for a living? I honestly don't know it. So for me and for anyone who's getting to know you through this episode, how do you describe what you do for a living? I'm going to call you a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah. But
what's your background? And then what is it that you're up to these days? And then what is it that you're looking forward to in 2021?
Man, that's a tall list. But the what I really do is lead generation. So I have a marketing company.
Okay.
I've had the marketing company for 15 years.
So your background would be in marketing or
marketing, lead generation, copy writing.
Okay.
Anything to make leads or money for clients. So long story short, I went to college, UCF.
Go Knights.
Definitely. Then I worked for a Orange Buick GMC for about a year.
Okay.
I was going to make a lot of money.
Were you trying to sell cars?
I was actually a service advisor for 11 months.
Okay.
I was going to make a lot of money. That didn't happen. I worked from 7 till about 6 every single day, 5 or 6 days a week, and I probably made $7 an hour.
That was fantastic. I had my second part-time job in high school. I left working for Eckerd Pharmacy to go work for Home Depot because they paid $7 an hour.
Yeah.
I went from $5.15 an hour at Eckerd Pharmacy to $7 an hour. So you're trying to say that with a college degree in 2002 or 2003,
Yep.
$7 an hour wasn't really what you were gigging on?
That's correct.
Okay. So then what did you parlay that job into?
So I went to I was on my way to New York City. I read a book about marketing, and I was like, man, I want to be a marketer. This sounds interesting.
Did you not go to UCF for marketing?
I did not, actually. I went for poli-sci.
Okay.
I wanted to be an attorney.
Oh.
I took my LSAT.
Okay.
Scored pretty well,
Okay.
I thought. I worked for general counsel for 3 months. Hated it.
Good for you.
Terrible.
Good for you for discovering that early on. And it's actually a good lesson for the youngsters who are tuning in.
Yep.
That just because you think you want to do something doesn't mean that you have to do it. And if you find out early on you don't like it, then bail. That's why internships are so important. I had something crazy like 7 internships while I was going to UCF. And all 7 internships taught me the same thing. That's what I don't want to do for a living.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that was it. I learned what I didn't want to do for a living. I don't know if it looked good on a resume, but it just taught me things I didn't want to do.
Yep.
Okay, so you didn't want to be an attorney, although you went to school for political science. You took your LSAT.
Yep.
You're reading a book about marketing on your way to New York City. Were you flying or on the train?
I was flying, actually.
Flying.
No trains in America. Not.
Yeah, but I know you're of European descent.
Yep.
Right? You were not born in the U.S., and trains could be a part of your life. So I just want to specify. So you read this book on marketing, and then what epiphany do you have from there?
I went to work for a marketing agency in Winter Park, and within 6 months, I was actually leading the entire search engine marketing and search engine optimization department.
Okay, so
was it.
You went to work for a company that was specializing in lead generation via the internet.
Yep.
So you weren't doing flyers or mailers or print advertising.
Nope.
It was get on the computer, the World Wide Web, and figure out were you like tricking Google, tricking Yahoo, were they Yelp reviews?
No tricks. Everything was white hat, nothing under the table. A lot of content creation, a lot of website revamping. And a customer would come to us, a client would come to us, say, hey, I have a marketing budget of $10,000. Make me $100,000. And that was our job to actually, to turn those numbers into good numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah. Take their 10 grand and then add a 10x multiplier to it.
Yep.
Their $10,000 was spent to generate leads.
Yep.
And then they were confident that if you could generate leads, and more importantly, the right type of leads, they can convert those leads into sales. Those sales would then generate 100 grand in net revenue.
Exactly. Like we had hotels, pest control companies, painting companies, window and shade manufacturers, and the budgets could be $1,000 a month. They could be $20,000 a week.
And I believe what you probably learned is that he or she who generates the leads makes the money.
That's right.
He or she who has the ability to make the phone ring ultimately has the ability to have unlimited income potential.
Make the phone ring. That's all they care about.
So I'm guessing, okay, we're fast forwarding a little bit here, but I'm guessing, because I know you well, you didn't stay at that company for long.
2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
And then you went and ventured out on yourself?
Then I went to, I started Capture Point Media.
Okay. And
So,
you are the owner.
The owner-operator.
The owner-operator of Capture Point Media. And are you doing a very similar service for others now, just under your own umbrella and under your own namesake?
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
So having, I know this podcast is about being a serial entrepreneur. I also have the other businesses. So I have the attic business and I have the gutter business.
So this is what's so intriguing.
Yeah.
Because you don't get up and go to school or graduate high school saying, I want to go in the gutter business or I want to go blow insulation into attics.
Yeah.
But if you have the right mindset and possibly the know-how, the fortitude, or even the cash investment to generate leads, then you can.
You can do anything. If you have the will and the means and the drive, really the will to do it, any person in America can do what they want and make a lot of money doing it if they continue and persevere through the highs and the lows.
So I have my favorite Dennis Miller story.
Okay.
As it pertains to business. I will refrain from talking about Oktoberfest 2018.
That was a good trip.
That was a great trip. But my Dennis Miller, as it pertains to business and entrepreneurship and lead generation, is how you helped your parents.
Oh my God.
Right? So 20 years ago-ish, not quite 20, 15 years ago. So 15 years ago, so our moms met because they drove school buses together.
Yep.
So one of your mom's many jobs throughout her life was a school bus driver. My mom was a career school bus driver for 30, 35 years. And that's how they met, and they became best friends. Our parents now hang out together. But your dad was at a point in his career where he needed a change. He needed to do something different.
He wanted out immediately.
He wanted out. He was working for corporate America. He was done. And you basically tell them, at least the story as I like to tell it, hey, mom and dad, if you can at least give me $5,000, I can tell you which business to buy, build you a website, and generate enough leads that you have instant cash flow. And they're like, okay, Dennis, tell us more. And you're like, have you ever thought about the rollaway dumpster business? Rollaway dumpsters, right?
It's almost like that.
Okay.
So my dad he wanted to get out of corporate America. It's correct. It was his idea actually for, that might be my phone. Just turn this thing off here. Let's throw this thing actually on the floor. That's probably leads coming in.
I know.
Crazy leads.
Dennis is blowing up. And
I'm a lead generating monster.
Yes.
So that's probably gone up 5 times already.
It has gone up 5 times. I come looking around. You saw
what
me.
is
I'm
it?
like, okay, where is that buzzing coming from?
I knew exactly where it was.
Okay.
So my dad was, he said, I'm gonna build a dumpster company, and he bought 3 dumpsters.
Okay, so your dad already had the idea.
He
for
had
dumpsters
the idea
because he was like a project manager, foreman in the construction world. So he already knew the amount of money that was being spent.
Yep.
Okay.
And for people that don't know the dumpster industry, it's either 20, 30, or 40-yard dumpsters. Those are difficult or almost impossible to get into a driveway.
Yes, that's either big, really big, or freaking huge.
Exactly.
In terms of sizes.
Exactly.
People like me, we don't understand 20, 30, and 40 cubic yards.
Yep.
But I know what big, huge, and gigantic are.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he bought the dumpsters that would fit on a double axle trailer, single articulated with 2 hydraulic pistons.
Okay.
And you can fit inside a driveway, no problem.
So basically, your dad recognized that there was a need.
A huge market.
For people who like to do it-yourself projects.
Yep.
and maybe they're doing like a single bathroom remodel. Maybe it's a kitchen remodel, or maybe they're just cleaning out their garage.
Or a re-roof.
Yep.
You can fit all the stuff in a dumpster.
Okay, and that can fit on my driveway because any other dumpster is going to require a much larger transport vehicle to get to the job site.
You need a $150,000 vehicle.
Okay.
If you have the big or the large format dumpsters.
Versus a
Dodge 3500 diesel dually.
$25,000. $45,000. Yeah. So the transport of the dumpster is a third of the cost. And there's a need because homeowners who are doing projects or small or contractors doing small projects such as roofs or kitchen remodels or bathroom remodels, they don't need this massive 40-yarder being drug around residential areas.
Exactly.
Okay.
So so I built him a website. He didn't want the website. I built it for him. And he bought 3 dumpsters, a truck, and a trailer.
Okay.
And he was doing maybe 1 to 3 dumps per week, which is not a lot.
On his own.
If that.
Yeah, and a dump is like $400 a dump. Is typically in the industry what you're paying for.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And it was not enough to pay for his living expenses, the fuel, the insurance.
Okay.
So 6 months into it, I was like, Dad, give me $2,000 and I'm going to generate leads for you. And he's like, no. What are you talking about? Leads.
Damn boomers.
Leads. What do you mean by leads? So as I left the house, my mom gave me the company credit card. And Did she
do so behind Dad's back? She's like, no. Don't tell your dad.
I mean, that was pretty much how it was. So I took the credit card. I started an AdWords account like I do for all my other customers. And I think he had about 5 leads that week. And I think he sold them all.
Wow.
So he went from 3 dumpsters to 43 dumpsters in 6 months.
Holy cow.
Then he started buying a dumpster or 2 per week from there. And I don't even know the numbers, maybe 100 dumpsters he had.
Yeah. And then really cool story. Your parents are of our retirement age.
Yep.
And they just retired and they just sold their business.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Last Tuesday.
I saw your dad posting on Facebook. Your mom, one of the 2 posted on Facebook that AFAB, which AFAB stands for anything for a buck, which I think is just a totally cool name for a business. But AFAB was sold.
Yep.
That is fantastic. Now
and they sleep
retire.
They sleep in.
They sleep in.
Until 7.
Until 7.
Until 7.
Very cool. Out of curiosity, did you do something similar for any other family members?
My brother?
Yeah. I was getting at that.
Just okay.
No. I wanted to ask you, like, hey, did you help Arthur too or not? Yep. But I know that your brother has a fairly successful business.
Full service business.
Yeah, a full service business.
Yep. So my brother, he was same thing, stuck in a semi-corporate job at a desk, not loving it. And I approached him. I was like, Arthur, here's 3 businesses. Here are the net returns, your owner benefit, your initial cost to go into business. What do you want to do? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, pick a business. I'll build you a website. I'll build you a marketing plan. You give me a little bit of money just for marketing, some high fives. We'll knock it out of the park. So, I would say 7 to 9 months. He went from having 2 or 3 clients, which were friends, your friends, your families, your FFRs, your relatives. 3 clients. I think he has 75 to 78 clients within the local market that he just drives around to. And he loves doing the business.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And that was a pool service business, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he maintains people's personal pools, cleans them, does all the chemicals, the chlorine, things that I can't do. If it wasn't for my wife, I don't know how my pool would stay
The pool
clear.
is very clear and clean.
Yes.
Always.
No, that's fantastic. And then, so like you're basically taking your skill set in marketing, and it's really in lead generation as it pertains to online lead generation.
Yep.
You've helped your parents launch a successful business that they had later down the road retired, sold, kind of like the American dream, right? I'm going to start a business.
Yep.
Now I'm going to sustain it, and it's going to create this great quality of life for me. And then I'm going to sell it because that's my exit strategy. Your brother, same thing. Hey, I'm kind of stuck in a rut. I don't like my job, and I don't like this corporate America thing, and I really don't see a future here. And they're like, hey, pick one of these 3 businesses. If you give me a couple $1,000s, I can generate leads for you, because it's not necessarily the business that sucks, but it's the lead generation that sucks. I mean, businesses fail in general because they don't generate enough leads.
The phones don't ring.
Yeah. So you do SharePoint Media? What your company?
Oh, Capture Point Media.
Capture Point.
Yeah.
Capture Point Media.
That's actually a play on words. So CPM, Capture Point Media, cost per mil or cost per thousand.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Kind of silly.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, as an advertising major, we actually learned about CPM. When you're looking at your ROI, your dollar cost averaging, all that good stuff. Yep. So now you're still doing that, right?
Still doing it full time.
CPM's up and running full time. You have clients that come to you, multiple industries.
Yep.
And they say, Dennis, I have a great product, a great service, but I need leads.
Yep.
I need my phone to ring.
Make the calls come in.
Make the phone ring. Awesome. But you also, because of your exposure to all these businesses, I guess you get to see behind the curtain a little bit, and you're like, wait a minute, what's your average net profit?
Yeah, that's actually frustrating. So marketing, the margins are not large. The margins might be 10, 15%.
And what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if
20% maybe.
If I spend $2,000 with you, you're seeing $200 to $400.
Maybe.
Yeah. But your clients and their products and services, you start getting frustrated because you keep on seeing that your net profit is in the hundreds of dollars and some of their net profits in the thousands of dollars.
Yep. And sometimes with marketing, you can make really good money. Like, I mean, you can make $20,000 in a month if you hit the right client with building the websites, but you're not always building these $20,000 websites and knocking them out in 3 weeks. It's not always like that. And it is a little frustrating. You're like, oh my God, like, and I'm happy to generate the money for the clients, but
you want some of that yourself.
Exactly.
You want some of some of that green.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
Well, man, I started an attic installation company.
Yeah, so that's like when I kicked this off earlier in the show, and I'm like a serial entrepreneur. You're coming in, and JC's like, okay, tell me about Dennis. Is he like a friend? Is he someone you just met? And what's the show going to be on? And I'm like, man, he's a friend, known him for 20 years, and I would call him a serial entrepreneur because of although it's not for your personal gain, what you did for your parents and for your brother, right? That's very entrepreneurial. Obviously, you've owned your own business for the past 14 years, and you've done really well for yourself, but it's more about what you've done over the past year with the attic installation, blowing business, and now seamless gutters.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And seamless gutters. So I want you to tell the story, but briefly tell us, how did you, a poli-sci major, car enthusiast, UCF grad with a degree in sociology, you thought you wanted to be pre-law, read a marketing book on the way to New York City, by airplane, by the way.
Yep.
Somehow, some way, now you're the owner of a attic installation blowing business and a seamless gutter business.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
I'm a little handy.
Okay.
That's one thing. You need to be handy. Like, you need to do, if you want to own the business, you have to do the work. You have to know how to do the work. So I have never installed a seamless gutter myself. I went to YouTube University. I watched hundreds of hours, maybe not hundreds, but I would say 50 hours of YouTube videos. I bought the crimpers. I bought the clips. I bought a seamless gutter machine, 100% digital. It prints out the gutter in front of you. You want 40 feet, 5 inches and a quarter. Boop, 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 boop. Print, and it actually roll forms the gutter on the truck.
But why'd you pick this business? I think
margins, and scalability.
Okay,
it's huge.
That's my favorite word.
Oh, is it?
Oh, you can scale anything in life.
Yeah, the installation business is harder to scale. The seamless gutter business is easier to scale. The equipment is a little bit less, it's still pricey, but a little bit less than the installation business. And you can train a crew in 4 to 5 days or about 10 jobs, and they're on their own for the most part.
Yeah, I'm still baffled why a poli-sci major with a marketing background is owning a gutter business.
Margins.
You're a businessman.
I love margins.
Yeah, margins. So you make good money, and I would guess both businesses were fairly cheap in terms of barrier of entry.
Low barrier to entry, no licensing, for example. So Florida is one of those states that you don't have to have a license for attic installation.
Okay. So very important for listeners who are listening outside of Florida. If you want to swipe and adapt what Dennis has done, feel free to. Just don't compete against him here in Central Florida. But check your state regulations.
Yep.
Right. A little disclaimer there. But no, you noticed early on that. I mean, what did it cost to start attic installation, roughly?
Oh, 50,000.
50,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was a decent chunk of change.
We started small.
Okay.
So we bought a used truck from Penske.
Okay.
Did all the research. Got a 6-liter engine. I was dead set on that.
Okay.
I bought an electric blowing machine, 7 times more powerful than the one at Home Depot.
Okay.
So 0.5 horsepower versus 7 horsepower. And then when I had enough revenue, I immediately graduated, leveled up to a 23 horsepower machine.
Okay. So
Huge.
Was it 50 to enter, or
no.
are you 50 all in now?
I'm 50 all into it.
But how much do you think to enter? If someone were to swipe and adapt an idea
20.
like this,
20 to 25.
20 to 25.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't have the money, you could think about partnering with someone who possibly does. Or if you don't want to go all in with that much money, because maybe that is your nest egg and that is your life savings.
I love the M word, margins, and the P word, partners. My favorite words.
Margin and partners.
You know why?
Why's that?
Partners. If you want to go fast, I might mess this up. If you want to go fast, go solo. If you want to go far, partner.
I love that. If you want to go fast, go solo. If you want to go far, partner.
Absolutely.
And I say that because the 2 businesses that I am a part of, and let's just say 3. Let's say the 3 businesses all have partnerships. I actually read an article, this was 20 years ago, and it talked about the death of the millionaire. And it was more about like being a millionaire isn't really that important. It's not that hard to achieve. But a pentamillionaire. A pentamillionaire is where it's at when your net worth is 5 million.
Yep.
Right. So it's fairly easy to get to $1 million, and $1 million doesn't get you as far today, but 5 million does. And when they studied pentamillionaires, 65% of them were in business for themselves. And of those that were in business, and they ranked them for like their ability to be successful, it went a partnership of 3, then a solopreneur, then a partnership of 2.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I agree with you about the FAR thing and a partner. And it's something that I teach outside of the podcast. But first I'm going to talk about it on the podcast today is a third of 10 million is better than 100% of 1 million.
I agree with that.
Right? Yeah. Well, math doesn't lie. But the point being is that I would rather be a third owner of something that I can grow to be worth 10 million than the sole owner of something that I could only grow by myself. It's just what you said. If you want to go fast, go solo. If you want to go far,
partner.
Yep. So in both your businesses, you found a partner.
Yep.
One, because even if you had the money, right, why risk all of it? When now, if you had the same $25,000 or $50,000, you're like, well, I could go all in and be the 100% owner of one business, or I can diversify and take a third of the money and do 3 businesses with it, or in your case, do 2 businesses with it.
Exactly.
So you had 20 grand in a partner, and you realize that with this business of attic insulation installs, you're going up into people's homes and you're blowing insulation, right? Not rolling it, you're blowing it.
Blowing it.
You needed a what I call like a U-Haul truck. You use the word Penske, but a U-Haul truck. You needed a blower and supplies.
Yeah, like screw guns, foam sealer, some know-how, a good supplier. That's key.
JC has a good supplier.
That's a good one. So yeah, you always need a good resource in any business that you're in. So today, I had an issue today on a job where my guys are doing a leaf guard system for a gutter install.
Oh, this is the gutter business. Okay.
Segue into gutter business. And they ran out of leaf guards. I called my supplier and she's like, I will have them in 20 minutes ready for you. I'll pick them up. And when I got there, my car was charged. They were outside by the front door. I said, thank you. In my car, guys had them in about 40 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was part of the research that you did.
Yeah.
But I think the point being, the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't take a whole lot.
No.
Like you didn't know about the industry, but YouTube University helped you.
Yeah.
Now you dedicated some time, so you possibly didn't go to so-and-so's housewarming party, or you didn't go to the beach because instead you were going to pull up your laptop and watch some YouTube videos.
Build a basic website, nothing pretty, have some marketing dollars, and figure out what you want to do.
So if I don't have the know-how, because you have the know-how on how to build a website.
Yep.
What would it cost me to call Capture Point Media and say, hey, Dennis, I heard you on the Loan Officer podcast. I need a basic website.
$3,000.
$3,000. And then
Plus or minus.
Plus or minus. Yeah, give or take. I'm not going to hold you to it.
$3,150.
And then if I give you $2,000 a month in advertising, how many leads can you guarantee me?
Depends on the industry.
But do you have that broken out?
I have all the data. Like if I don't have the data, I'll get the data. Give me 24 hours.
Okay.
I'll give you a very good example. I'm going to segue into another client, a IVF doctor. So the doctor is making about $100,000 a year doing his own marketing. Not a lot of money for an IVF doctor.
Yeah, IVF.
In vitro fertilization.
Yeah, I would think
not a lot of money.
I think you'd have an extra zero
or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think 10 million? I was thinking $1 million a year for that type of gig.
Yeah.
He's making $100,000 or she's making $100,000.
He was spending something like, I think $6,500 per month on marketing.
Okay.
And he was getting about 5 to 10 new clients from that. I got an introduction. I was like, hey, you need to rebuild the website, minimize the navigation. Here's a lead cost. And he didn't believe me. He's like, impossible. I had multiple marketing companies say that, what I'm spending is right. I'm like, what you're spending is right, but the way that you're spending it is wrong. Give me a month. In 9 months, plus or minus, he made $1 million.
No way.
Yeah. It was all about lead generation.
Where did he take you? Like, did you get to go somewhere fun like Atlantis, the Bahamas, or Vegas?
I had him for 3.5 years.
Okay.
He had to drop me because he got bought out by a larger IVF company.
Oh, high five to him.
I know.
Boo-hoo to you.
I know. And
high five to him.
I was really upset that I lost him.
Yeah, I bet.
Good guy. Loved him.
Well, I guess the good news now is if you wanted to or needed to, you could hop on the horn the old-fashioned way, start hitting up a bunch of IVF doctors. Yeah.
There's plenty of them. Good money. Good margins.
So let's get into this. So serial entrepreneur, tell me about the car you just bought. I saw it.
Oh, my God.
But I just briefly, it's an Audi R8.
Okay. V10.
V10, that's fast?
They do make the V8.
Okay.
The V8's not fast enough.
The V8's for losers.
Big L's.
Yeah.
And I'm a big W. So that sounded really cheesy, but I really wanted the V10. The sound, it just keeps pulling. It doesn't stop moving. You hit the gas.
How fast have you gone? Full disclosure.
170.
170.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you're still alive to talk about it.
Speed, it's safely. I did a safe.
Okay.
Very safe.
Can you take it down to Sebring?
I wouldn't actually. I think Sebring, I used to race my other Audi on Sebring. I went there maybe 3 times total. The tires are destroyed after the first 8 heats.
And I would guess that tires on an Audi R8 are pretty expensive.
Not too bad, maybe $300
per tire.
Per tire, yeah.
That's $1,200 just to go race your car.
And the wear and tear on the suspension. The shocks are $2,000 a pop.
So what's your next business?
Oh man, I have a whiteboard at home.
Okay.
I actually should have took a picture of this and actually sent it, or actually bring it in here and show the camera. I have a few ideas.
Any worth sharing, or you're still developmental? You want to keep
no,
to yourself
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna drive in the direction of these. One is going to require a partner.
Okay. Your favorite P word.
Yep. A license.
Ooh.
Margins are ridiculous. Margins are 80-90%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like retail margins.
Huge.
Without the retail risk.
Exactly. Jobs are 3 months.
Okay.
So, and it's in the home arena. Actually, Dustin, that's actually another good thing. I love talking about homes. There's so many homes in Seminole County. Everyone needs a new roof. Everyone needs pressure washing. Everyone needs interior painting, exterior painting. And if anyone wants to start a business, start in the home section.
There you go. Look, that's your takeaway from this episode. Your takeaway is, and by the way, you mentioned Seminole County, which is one small county in the state of Florida.
Orange County is even bigger. Like most of our business is in Orange County.
But if you're in Georgia, Fulton County, DeKalb County, Cobb County,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are.
And specialize in something. Don't be a handyman. A handyman will have 40, 50, 60 tools. Specialize in something. Crown molding. That's your niche. It could be LED conversions. That's your niche. Always have a very specific niche. For example, insulation. I do the blow-in insulation. I don't do spray foam.
Interesting.
Yep. The margins are higher for spray foam, but I don't want to do spray foam. I set my niche early, and I love the blow-in installation.
Yeah, it's interesting. A buddy of mine owns a flooring company.
Yep.
And he is lean, he is mean, he is really good at what he does, and he's at high demand. So we said, oh my God, you did such a great job, Jason, on our floors. Shout out to Jason Proth. Would you do our master bathroom for us? He said, I'll do the floors. We're like, no, but you're so good at this. He goes, yeah, I don't do showers.
Yeah.
He goes, can I do showers? Of course I can do showers. Do I do showers? No. I'm like, that's someone who understands their business. They understand their margins. They understand what they're good at, what makes them money, and maybe even what they enjoy doing. Because I'm a big fan of, look, if you don't like doing it, don't do it. Yeah, you don't do it. In fact, you and I talked about this at lunch the other day when we were just kind of catching up, where you did mention you're a handy person. Like you just bought a house.
Yep.
You stripped it down to the studs.
Yep.
And you're doing a lot of the work yourself.
Most of it.
Like you're into that.
I love it.
Okay, so
I have a passion.
Yeah, so it makes sense for you to then take on blue collar trades and then buy into them as a business operator, because it's easier for you to say, I don't mind learning how to climb up into an attic and blow insulation. I don't mind learning how to take a roll of aluminum and have it formed into the proper size gutter and then install the gutter, because doing what workmanship, handy type things kind of suits your pleasure dome, things that make you happy.
Yep.
Although I'm sure your goal isn't to be in attics 24/7, 365. And your goal isn't to be up on a 20-foot ladder doing seamless gutters. But you understand as a business owner, which this is a huge takeaway for anybody, you got to at least know it firsthand, even if you don't plan to do it. But more importantly, follow Dennis's lead and know it firsthand. Know it because you enjoyed learning it.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you want to scale, my favorite word, you can't be the technician.
Yep.
You have to be the business operator. You have to be the lead generator. You have to be the one running the show.
You can work in the business or you can work on the business. You can't do both. And I like working on the business.
Yes.
Initially, the first, you got to work in the business for the first month or two. Then you transition.
Well, and it makes you that much more credible to your foreman or to your assistant or your supervisors or any other associate you bring on when you can speak to them with empathy versus sympathy, right? Empathy is like, I've done this. I know that this job should take you 8 hours. I know that you can cut that angle a certain way and glue it a certain way.
Yep.
And if you've never done it, you can't say that with empathy or wholeheartedly. You're saying it because you saw someone else do it. No, you need to know firsthand how to do it.
Yeah.
How about this? So let's go back. One of my favorite themes on this show is everything you should have learned in high school but didn't. What are some things that growing up that you wish your parents taught you?
Ooh. Well, my mom actually taught me to save.
Okay.
So I'm a big saver.
Well, yes, you are. It reminds me of one of my favorite Dennis H.J. Miller stories from when you were a teen.
Which one?
Your parents told you, I don't know what age you were, but they were idiots for doing so. Sorry, Mark and Jilly. They told you that whatever money you saved, they would match for your first car.
That's right. Yep, I do.
Okay, which, by the way, I stole that. Thank God my son is not like you. And he saved all of his money until Friday night when he could go to the dollar store and buy a bunch of candy and chips.
Yeah.
No, actually, my son, I'm very proud of him. He's saving for a gaming computer. He wants to build his own gaming computer. But I stole this from you and your parents, where they told you that they would match whatever you saved. How much did you save as a teen?
Okay, actually, it was before I was even a teen.
Okay.
So when I was 10 years old, I was mowing my own yard. I was like, I can mow my neighbors. I could make $20 per cut.
Well, that's the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
Kicking in at age 10.
It actually might be built into me.
Okay.
I don't know. So my dad got me a business card, and it was Miller's Lawn Care. And the motto was, we do it by the yard.
Okay.
Which I thought was genius.
Yes.
Had my phone number on it. I actually still have them in my office.
Did you come up with that motto, or do your parents
My
help you
dad.
with it? Okay.
He's a cheese ball with his logos, with his mottos.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I probably had 15 customers that I mowed every single week. And I bought
15? There's only 7 days in the week. You were doing 2 to 3 a day?
No. I would do in a whole like Saturday, Sunday. I'd work all Saturday and all Sunday from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon.
Holy cow.
I actually bought my own snapper, cash money, self-propelled when I was 11 years old. It was a $400 mower, and I bought it at 11 with my own money.
Was it a walk behind or a ride?
Walk behind.
Okay.
So
okay.
And
so
then,
so started at age 10, 11, you
Yep.
had your own business and
Yep.
you were mowing lawns in the neighborhood.
So you may not know this, but my parents actually borrowed money from me for one of their mortgages.
No way.
They did. My mom borrowed a little bit of money from me.
Wow.
And I think it was 94, 95 when they bought one of their houses.
Okay.
So my mom paid me back.
Yeah.
And I bought a Nissan. I don't know if you remember this. It was a Nissan Pathfinder.
Yeah.
4x4 red.
Yes.
And I thought, I was like, oh my God, this thing's amazing.
But your parents had to match
They had to
you
match
saved.
it. And my mom matched it.
Oh, you kind of have to as a parent, right?
She matched it.
I mean, begrudgingly, you know,
Yeah.
like doing everything you're not supposed to do, like going to the 401k and borrowing against you. You're like, God damn it. I made this promise to my son 6 years ago and I can't welch on this.
You know, so I put my money in the bank, but I had a little notch out in the drywall in my bedroom as a kid, and I would trade in the 10s and 20s for hundreds, and I would roll the hundreds up, put them in the wall, and then put like the little plate, like the blank plate, and I'd screw it back in. And I might have been 13 years
Were
old.
you hiding the money from your siblings?
I was just hiding it in the wall, and I had something like $3,000 so around there when I was 13.
Wow.
That went into the bank.
That went into the bank.
Yeah,
That you had hidden in the wall like you were a drug dealer.
exactly.
Okay.
And you don't know, like $3,000. Like I had no concept of how much $3,000 was when I was 13. No concept.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah.
Okay. So total sidetrack, but one of my favorite stories. But I was asking you, what are some things that you wish that you learned?
Oh, learned, man.
Because you
sorry.
said but you said your mom taught you how to save.
Yeah.
So you had that discussion.
No
where,
debts. Like pay off your debts.
Okay. Very European of her.
Oh yeah.
Very European.
Pay them off.
Okay. Anything they didn't teach you that you wish they did?
Oh, stock market actually.
Okay.
I think the stock market. Sixth grade, I had home ec. I don't remember the teacher's name, and we learned about stocks. And I wanted to buy some stocks, and my parents just didn't
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a similar thing on.
I mean, good or bad stock market, but
Yeah,
I
but
wish
no,
they told me.
it's a similar thing that I remember I taught my dad at 18, like, hey, you should buy some stocks. I just read this book, Beating the Street by Peter Lynch, and I was in Mr. Boulet's class senior year at Lyman High School, and we did like one of those mock, if you had $100,000, what stocks would you buy? And back then people actually read the newspaper and you could track what your stocks were doing in the newspaper every day and how they closed, which introduced me to it, which then I introduced my parents to it. So therefore, I make sure that my son has his own stock account. I gave him that for Christmas at 14.
I think every kid in America, 14, 15, 16 years old, their parents just start them with a basic stock account.
Yep.
And can't touch it.
So, and check this out. This is something I haven't shared on the show yet that, oh my God, I have not shared on this show yet. I kind of said that really quickly. I can be a little bit controlling. I can be a little bit involved. So it's very much like me to give my son $250 and then want to sit with him and help him research and teach him about PE ratios and help him pick the right stock and talk to him about when to sell it. Kudos to my son for basically saying, F you, Dad. He didn't say so. He did so with his actions.
Mm-hmm.
He went out and bought stocks on his own. He sold stocks on his own. He lost 150 of the 250 that I gave him.
Yep.
But he learned. And what I learned as a parent, that if I could share this story with someone listening, it would be not only do we encourage you to open a TD Ameritrade account. Like I called my buddy Doug's girlfriend, Heather, shout out to Heather House over at TD Ameritrade. And I called Heather and said, Heather, help me up. She set it all up. So my son's a primary and I'm the signer. But not only should you do it, but then leave them alone.
Yeah.
Leave them alone and let them fail.
Let them fail
because they'll learn. And my son, he just bombed. Like he bought oil companies right before
the drop
COVID. Okay. And then he freaked out and sold them the minute they all dropped.
Oh man.
It's like, oh yeah. So you probably should have checked with me. I would have told you not to do that.
But it's cheaper at $250 versus $2,500.
Yes.
So he's learning now.
He's learning now. So I love that. Like that's great advice to give to future parents. How about this? Looking back to yourself 18 years ago. So 22, 23, coming out of college. What do you wish you did sooner in life?
Oh, I wish I had not taken the corporate path initially. Well, I wish I had exited the corporate path earlier and started my own business earlier.
So you're confident you would have been ready? Like
no,
one year?
I wouldn't have actually. I'm glad I had the marketing experience because that's what I need. Like the 4 or 5 years working at 2 different marketing companies.
And by the way, you keep on saying marketing. This is where my control freak comes out.
Yep.
Lead generation.
I
mean, because look, there are people who work in marketing departments and they do phenomenal, pretty brochures,
which gives you 0 leads.
Yes.
None.
Yes. So because of that, and maybe it's my advertising background, I have a hard time when people use the generic term of marketing.
Yeah.
Because to me, marketing is not synonymous with lead generation.
I'm gonna charge you $5,000 to make you 5,000 pretty brochures.
Yes.
And I can't guarantee anything.
Yes. No.
You don't want that.
Yeah. I only want things that make the phone ring.
Give me $5,000. I'm going to generate 1,000 leads for you, and you're going to convert those leads at 30%.
Yeah. So you're saying you're grateful for the 2 years you spent working at a lead generation company.
100%. But I think when I was 26, 27, I wish I had started. I wish I was more of a serial entrepreneur
then.
Okay. So having Capture Point Media for 14, 15 years, still going on, I love it. But I wish I had started maybe in year 4 of Capture Point Media, started another company, and then started another company because I might have had more by then.
Well, because the ultimate goal for anyone who, especially those that are striving to be pentamillionaires, to use that term again, is you need most times multiple revenue streams. And most need to be passive. And by passive, get to a point to where you're managing, as like executive board member, you're managing 3 or 4 or 5 different businesses, but you're not actively involved in the day-to-day.
Exactly.
Right? You're probably spending 8 to 12 hours per business checking in with your foreman or your production crew or your
lead tech.
Your lead tech, and making sure that everything is running as planned, and then you are achieving 4 different revenue streams. So when one business is down, you don't freak out. The 3 others should be somewhere between average to up.
Yep.
And on a year like maybe 2021 is going to be, you could have all 4 banging, all 4 having record years, and that's when you can save the most money. That's when you can really get ahead.
And reinvest in something else.
Last topic, just personal, but they always come with good stories, and the audience may enjoy one of these.
I'm scared.
Yeah, one of these stories. How's your granddad?
Oh, he's good. He's 87.
Okay.
He's back in the U.S. He's been here for maybe 3 years, 4 years.
Because your granddad is English.
English. Yep. He had like a mini stroke, a TBI, I think it's called.
Okay.
Mini stroke, and he was for 3 days like locked in a position, drooling, and that was it. And then a miracle, and he's back. He's like having a cup of tea. I think he had a beer last night. Walking around.
And here's what I love about your granddad. He has not met a woman that he does not like.
Oh my God. He will be in a coma for like 6 weeks, hear a woman's voice, and he's like doing the hokey pokey. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Well, shout out to John Points. Not that I think he's checking us out on YouTube, but maybe you can show him this when JC drops it. Dennis, thanks for coming by the Loan Officer Podcast. Thank you for agreeing to spend an hour with us, getting ready for the show and doing the show. If someone wants to get a hold of you because they either A, want to pick your brain about how they too can be a serial entrepreneur, or B, maybe they need someone to generate some freaking leads for them, how do they get a hold of you?
Miller@capturepointmedia.com.
Miller@capturepointmedia.com.
POINT media.
POINT
media.com.
Media. Capturepointmedia.com.
You know what, Dustin? I know you're trying to end the show here, but some people put actually a dot. They put capture and then a dot media, but it's really Capture Point Media.
Oh.
That's why I spelt it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally confused me. I'm like.
I confuse myself sometimes.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, like I'm D-Owen at waterstonemortgage.com, and I tell them it's water, stone, mortgage, and there's a T in mortgage.
Is there? Oh my God.
There's a T in mortgage.
Mort for death.
Yes. Yep. There you go.
French.
But Miller is English. Now I'm confused.
Actually, my original,
He's Dennis Miller.
Yeah,
I'm Dustin Owen. This is all the time we have for you today. I promise to have Dennis back on next year, and we'll talk about some of the new businesses that he's launched and the success that he's having. But for now, we're out. Deuces.